This video goes over different types of words, so this is especially useful for primary school and anyone doing the 11 plus. Okay, to begin with, they'll want to know if you can use simple kind of words like nouns. Now, nouns are simple on the surface of things, but then you have different types of nouns. You have pronouns, you have proper nouns, you have even got things called abstract nouns. And the opposite of an abstract noun is a concrete noun. You may have learnt this, but you may not have. If not, we're going to go through it now anyway, so it's okay. So to begin with, pronouns are used instead of people's names. Okay. So things like he, she, and then we've got his, her, and then we've got things for animals as well, or objects. It, its, theirs, they. Okay, so I'll give you an example of that. For example, Sally went to school. So maybe you've used Sally 100 times in your story and you want to use something a bit different. So just, if you've written Sally down, write a line through it and change it to she went to school. Okay, that way you haven't written Sally 100 times in your story and your teacher won't get a bit bored, or whoever's reading it will enjoy it more. Okay, so yeah, we can use she for Sally, but what if it was the cat felt ill? So we can't use she or he for that really, if we don't know if it's a boy or a girl cat. So what we can do instead is it felt ill. And to make things more interesting, we can add different types of other words to this sentence. But to begin with, we're going to look at different nouns. So the next one you might have heard of is a proper noun. So a proper noun is just a name. It's not the name of an object, but it's the name of a place, a person, or even sometimes the name of a subject. So in school you might have heard people being told off for not putting a capital for mathematics if they're writing it down. Sometimes people can be quite picky and say that you should use a capital letter for that. But proper nouns are usually names of people. So when I wrote Sally, I wrote it with a capital S because Sally is the name of a person. Some people get confused and they think objects like, I don't know, a football are actually being named, but even though we've given a name to the thing, it's not the name of a person or a place, so it doesn't have a capital letter. It has a normal small lowercase f, okay, because it's a thing. Okay, so to move on once again, we also have the thing that confuses people with proper nouns again, and that is that places should also have capital letters. Okay, Australia should have a capital letter, and even if you've got a kind of abbreviated name like the UK or the USA, you need to have capitals for all of those letters in there because they represent names. Okay, so now we go on to the more complicated stuff, which is abstract and concrete nouns. So abstract nouns, A-B-S-T-R-A-C-T, are things you cannot touch and you cannot see. Okay, but you can sometimes feel them. That's the complicated things, because feelings, as in emotions, are actually abstract nouns. Okay, so for example, happiness. We can't really see that. Sure, we can see what it creates, which is maybe a smile or dancing or something. Okay, but we can't actually see happiness. We don't see happiness floating around in the air. Okay, and the same thing is true of other feelings, like, for example, sadness, things like maybe intelligence, things you can't really see. Okay, so Let's go on to concrete nouns. They're the opposite of abstract nouns, and they are things you can see and you can touch, okay? So things like, for example, maybe you're sitting at a table or a desk right now. That's a concrete noun because you can see it, you can touch it, you can definitely see it a lot more easily than happiness, okay? Because you can see tables around you. Maybe not floating around, but they're around you and you can touch them. So they're concrete nouns. So if this comes up in your test, you have to think to yourself, can I see and touch it? If you can, then it's a concrete noun. If you can't see it or touch it, and it might be a feeling, then it's an abstract noun. Okay? So think that when you're being asked about them.